Hey y'all, welcome to another episode of After Credits. I am Barnyard. We have the man that never has a plan, Daniel. And yeah, we took a drastic turn from our last video, from the daytime to the midnight time. And we haven't actually seen a movie this late in a while.
Yeah.
And it's I'm feeling it. I'm feeling old.
We got out of John Wick Chapter 2, the sequel to one of the greatest action films of the past 10 years, starring Keanu Reeves as a retired hitman who's forced out of retirement when some debts from the past come to be reclaimed. I'm feeling really let down by this one.
I think we got the reviews hitting us, because we kept seeing like 95% on Rotten Tomatoes. We kept seeing everyone we asked that saw it already said, "Oh, dude, it's fucking phenomenal, yada yada." So I think we were expecting something more than we got, but in looking at it with what we got, I still think it was a very, very good action film.
John Wick has another dog in this movie. He has a cute little pit bull, and I made the comment that, oh, if they go for killing the dog again, it's a cheap emotional ploy.
Yeah.
Something that emotionally strong is only gonna happen once.
Yeah.
And so what I was expecting from this movie was a lot of world building, a lot of action, and I didn't really get that. I got more world building than I really needed.
Well, it's to also set up, John Wick Chapter 3, which we are, unless something drastic happens, it looks like we're going to get.
Oh, I know, but again, this movie doesn't really need to be 2 hours. You could have condensed this by a half hour. What I was missing from this movie was urgency.
Yeah.
If you watch the first movie, and I mean, you watched it for the first time last night.
Yes, I did.
There's something hypnotic about the way that movie moves. Everything leads to something, and it builds on top of each other to a really big climax, and it just goes and goes and goes.
Mm-hmm.
And it has that energy, that urgency of this singular goal. And it also helps that the first movie was simple. The simple goal being revenge on this one guy for this one action. But this movie, because it adds so much world building to it, it kind of slows the movie down, fills it with a little bit more than what is necessary.
And wasn't as simple and as hypnotic, like you said, as the first one.
Because I found myself asking, why do I care? Rather than, let's see what next thing he's going to do. Just on a technical note, there's more ambition here, some of it which goes to better use than others.
Mm-hmm.
And the stuff that's really good here is extraordinary. I think it's a smattering of ideas that really could have held a tight space, but is instead stretched out to focus on building this universe. Which, if they would have kept it tighter, quicker, just, I guess, more single-minded, it actually would have worked in this movie's favor. So we're gonna get into a couple spoilers here, spoiler alert. So if you don't want to hear the big details and just find out our final thoughts and scores out of 6 stars, you can scroll to this time code right here. Otherwise, we're just gonna get into it. Much of this movie is built around the world of assassins that was created in the first one, which I thought was a really cool Easter egg. Because the whole movie can be done without him being a hitman. You don't need the fact that John Wick is a hitman to have that movie. You could just have a guy on a rampage. But as soon as you find out about the Continental, and you find out about these other assassins, and you find out about the rules and the services and this world of assassins that's created, that was sort of your nice cherry on top.
Yeah, I agree.
And this movie expands on that. It goes international. You see Rome. You find out a little bit more about the hierarchy, about how this works. There seems to be a council of main assassins that oversee the operations of the rest of the world.
Which I wouldn't see why is possible, because anybody can order a hit on anybody.
Some of the things about the world building is
kind of shit.
dumb, and it kind of works against itself. The main plot involves John Wick being called by this guy. I don't know the
Santiago
actor.
or something like that.
I don't know the name. The main bad guy is looking to make a power grab for his sister's spot in the High Council, and so he orders
because Daddy didn't love me enough.
Yeah. So he orders John Wick to go put out a hit and come out of retirement. Why would John Wick go do this? Because he has this magical kill someone for me free card called the Marker, which is a blood oath that someone takes. It's basically a fancy IOU.
Yeah.
And we learn through... I did like this. There wasn't that much exposition that John Wick gave this guy a marker in order to help him get out of the business, because we find out, or at least I assume, that he was ordered to kill his wife. And so the guy helped him out, and with the marker made it so he wouldn't have to go after his wife, I think.
They do mention the impossible task once again.
Yeah.
And without getting into details at all. So that never crossed my mind.
That's the only assumption that I had for what was the one thing that John couldn't do, because his one big motivation in the series is his love for his wife. Yeah.
And you know, if that is the case, what are the questions that come up? Is like, why would she be
targeted?
Yeah. Find out in John Wick 3, I guess. The Blood Oath guy, he says, I want my sister's spot in the High Council. I need you to kill her. And he's like, why would I, kill your sister? We were friends and yada yada yada. And he's like, well, this is what you do. And then Keanu Reeves said, no, I'm not going to do that. And then they blew up his house.
You know what's really funny about that?
What?
The way that shot was edited, his first refusal, like, no, I'm not going to do this, but you have a blood oath. You know the consequences if you don't do this. He goes, I'm not going to do it. In less than 2 minutes, this guy goes outside, grabs this grenade launcher, and just destroys John Wick's house to shreds. But in between him leaving and grabbing the grenade launcher, John Wick just kind of walks aimlessly around his house. It gave me a real Iron Man 3 vibe. You know what's about to happen, and out of self-preservation, you're not even gonna, stock up. You're not even gonna try to escape. You're just gonna sit here and hang out.
He's probably hoping that the blast kills him. And then whenever it doesn't, he's like, all right, well, you fucked up. Santiago, or whatever the fuck his name is. He's like, no loose ends. So now he's trying to kill him, and so he's got two main peoples going after him.
Yeah, you've got the sister's bodyguard played by Common, and then you've got his bodyguard played by Ruby Rose, who's playing a deaf assassin, which I thought was a nice inclusion of diversity. It also makes pretty good use of these really ridiculous but kind of awesome subtitles that pop up throughout the movie.
Yeah.
And I like that they have her in there. The idea that I was sold on for this movie was John Wick has an open contract and everyone's trying to kill him.
Yeah.
I thought that was a really cool idea. And had maybe the plot with him killing the sister been shortened to maybe about 20 minutes, and then most of the movie been about meeting the different kind of assassins that he comes across, because I like Ruby Rose, I like her intensity, I like Common kind of reprising his Terminator steel from Run All Night, and there's this Asian guy that could have made for some cool sumo wrestling moves. There's a chick with a violin that she pulls weapons out of. When John Wick is in New York running from Common, and he sees Common on the second floor and he's on the first floor, and they're both shooting at each other silently because they're in a crowd of people.
And they're using the silencers and you just hear doop, doop.
Yeah. It's stuff like that that's fun, but the movie, in an attempt to build tension, drags those scenes out for so long that you're kind of just like, all right, just keep moving a little bit, It feels like it is just to kind of pad out the story and make it 2 hours. I love that Lawrence Fishburne is in this, and I really wanted to see more of that character.
Yeah, he was kind of like
He brought
the,
a lot of life into
It's
this.
kind of like the Forrest Whitaker of Rogue One, where he only had really like one scene he was in to help out the protagonist. And then
It was Lawrence Fishburne trying to be Sam Jackson, and you know what?
Yeah.
It's a good look. He really makes it work. He plays this guy from John Wick's past that John Wick showed mercy to, and as a result, he's kind of grown into his own little kingpin of this little part of New York, sending technological chips through carrier pigeons, which I thought was adorable.
Mm-hmm.
And I really would have liked to see more of their character. I maybe would have liked to see a flashback scene showing like how John Wick and him met. You know, just a little bit more of that character. The whole end fight in the climax, when the Museum of Modern Art, is the closest this movie gets to the charm, the speed, the ferocity of the first film. Because as soon as John Wick just kind of like shuts up and starts blowing through fools, and in a way that's really fucking creative. The choreography is still top notch.
Yeah.
And the gunplay is still great. Bullets in the head for everyone. Chunks flying in the airs. Everything is a squib. Even the camera gets squib blood on it at some point.
Yeah.
It's fun as shit. And then there's this scene this extended sequence that takes place in a hall of mirrors that I thought was breathtaking. I thought was easily as good as anything in the first one. Could easily be matched up with that nightclub scene.
Yeah.
It's so fucking good. But again, it's at the end, and just little bits at a time, and God, I want this movie to be better than it is.
Yeah, I agree with you. It only had those few key scenes that were as entertaining as the first one. Other than that, it kind of felt rehashed. But you know, what else can you get from a action movie that's focused around killing people?
Mad Max Fury Road. George Miller made it harder for everybody, baby. No excuses. If you scroll to the time code, welcome back. We've been talking for a little bit about John Wick Chapter 2 and on Barnyard's fancy phone, because the battery died for the second fucking time, we're gonna give you some quick final thoughts and scores out of 6 stars. For me, this movie is a smattering of good ideas that stretched out to 2 hours when really it didn't need to be. I think it loses a lot of energy, a lot of urgency, a lot of punch that the first one has. And while Keanu Reeves is fantastic and Lawrence Fishburne is great with energy, and I forgot to mention the guy who plays the concierge at the hotel, that guy needs a lot of love too, because he's that supporting character that, you know what, I never knew his fucking name, but I always remember his. There's good shit in here. The end of the movie, the last 20 minutes is the closest this gets to sort of the energy of the first movie and the real excitement that I felt whenever I saw John Wick for the very first time. But other than that, there's a little bit too much world building, and it moves at a drastically slower pace for me to fully kind of recommend this. It's leagues ahead of most action movies that you're gonna see. So, fuck it. 3.5.
It did feel a little slower than the first. It did rehash some stuff from the first. It didn't have that punch it had in the first. But overall, it was still a pretty fun time. It's definitely worth a watch if you like the first one. You might be a little disappointed like Daniel was, but I still feel like it's a definite watch. I'm going to be generous and give it a 4.5. Liam gave it a 5.
Yeah. Britt, I know you're asleep back there. What's your score for this?
I really don't know.
Pick a number.
I wasn't even paying attention for half the movie.
Pick a number.
2.5.
2.5 for Brett.
It's the little engine that could of half-cocked verdicts.
Yeah. So, if you liked our review, please leave a like down below. If If you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel. We're currently at, I think, 108 subscribers, which is fantastic.
Thank you so much.
Hey. And if you haven't already, please like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, follow us on Instagram. Liam has a blog where he does movie reviews, some movies that we don't usually get to.
We got our friend Noah. He's the Cinema Geek on Instagram. Give him a shout out, give him some love. And next week we're going to see a couple of these movies, if not all of them. A Cure for Wellness, the new Dane DeHaan horror movie, Fist Fights, Ice Cube, Charlie Day, and some bullshit. What's the other movie that's coming out? Oh, Great Wall! Great Wall! Fucking Matt Damon fighting motherfucking dragons! PG-13 CG dragons!
Matt Damon saves China.
Why does our Matt Damon impression sound like Luke Bryan?
Luke Bryan.
Hi, this is Luke Bryan. I support Matt Damon saving the Chinese from themselves.
Thank you all very much. Thank you all again very much for watching. Y'all take care. Have a good night, and we'll see you on the next time. See ya.